Welcome into WagerTalk's MLB show. First pitch Friday, April 16th. I'm Drew Martin, your host. Happy Friday out there to all the watchers, all the baseball bettors joining us live on YouTube, Twitter, however you're joining us. Thanks for joining us. We got Ralph Michaels and Bryan Leonard from WagerTalk.com. Ralph, first time on the show. Happy to have you, buddy. Happy Friday to you. Welcome in.
Hey guys, appreciate you being on. I'm not as player knowledgeable as Bryan or Koken or a lot of the guys. I sort of wait to start my MLB until they get through the rotation once or twice. But just a reminder, the daily first pitch newsletter did start going out each and every day this past Monday. Go to my homepage, wagertalk.buzz/RM. I have it up by 10:30 a.m. Eastern every morning, 2 full pages on every team. Make sure you check out the first pitch daily at wagertalk.com.
Hey, Ralph, that's all right. I know you're knowledgeable about MLB, even if you can't rattle off every name of every roster. Hey, names don't equal wins, and I'm all about the information you're giving out on this show, so happy to have you, buddy. And we got Bryan Leonard, talk about baseball knowledge. He knows it, guys. Number one at Wager Talk over the last 4 seasons, long-term kind of records here. But Bryan, happy Friday morning to you. Welcome in.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Great to see my friend Rolf here. Rolf used to be a season ticket holder for the Cleveland Indians for many years, so he knows the players. We've traveled to a lot of games together. He's just he tends to play it off a little bit, but Rolf's very knowledgeable, and he's our stat man on the site, and he does a terrific job on every publication he puts out. It's a pleasure to work with him.
Oh, absolutely. I second that. And Bryan, a full season ticket holder here for Cleveland Indians games. What would you set the over-under of beers drank during that season of Cleveland Indians? Full 81 at home.
Well, the games that I would go with Rolf, he had drinking games. And one of them was at the end of an inning where they would throw the ball onto the mound. If it made it onto the mound, everybody had to drink a full beer before the next inning started. So needless to say, I didn't see too many 7th and 8th and 9th innings when I went to the games with Rolf.
All right, Drew, I have to tell a story. When they started, it was used to be called Jacobs Field, right? I mean, it was when the new stadium opened, it was Jacobs Field. So I had season tickets at the old Indian Stadium, so I had early rights to get them at Jacobs Field. So I'm walking around looking where I want to pick my seats, and I have to pick it right where there's a Miller Lite concession stand behind me. So honest to God, I picked my Indian seats because of the Miller Lite concession stand.
Good stuff, guys. That would have been fun to go to those games with you, Rob. Hopefully we'll catch an MLB game live. Heck, maybe even this season. But, guys, we're breaking down 4 games on the Friday night slate, trying to get you on some of these right sides. We got best bets at the end, plus an Asian baseball best bet as well from Tokyo Brandon. So stay tuned for that. We got 2 in prime time, and we got 2 late night action games here, and one of them being the Dodgers and Padres. We'll be breaking it down. But first off, starting 7:10 Eastern time, we got the Cleveland Indians, just talking about them here, against the Cincinnati Reds. Allen versus Hoffman. I'm seeing a total of 9 here, Bryan, with the Reds minus 120-ish home favorites. It's minus 110 depending where you're shopping here. You interested in getting involved with the Indians and Reds tonight, Bryan?
Yeah, actually I am. I think Logan Allen's a guy I've been looking to bet on. He looked pretty good in his first 2 starts this year, a 50 and a 61 game score. He's a lefty that came over from San Diego in 2019 in one of our trades with the Padres, which it's getting to be a point where the Padres are basically the National League's Cleveland Indians because half of our guys play for the Padres now. But yeah, it's a situation that Logan Allen has really dedicated himself. He came to spring training this year. He's lost 35 pounds. He's got a brother that's been in a wheelchair his entire life, and he's dedicating his career now to his brother. And really heartwarming story, and he's pitched very well. The Reds are coming back home now. They played 6 games on the road against San Francisco and Arizona. Normally, I like to fade a team coming back home for the first time. And, this will actually be the first time all season the Cincinnati Reds have faced a left-hander as a starter. If you looked at the Reds have been hitting really well and with runners in scoring position, but that doesn't last. Just take a look at their last few games. They did score 6 one game against San Francisco, but the other games surrounding it, they scored 0-3, 0-3. They were hitting way over their head earlier in the season. Cleveland's a team that's one of the top teams in the league in hard hit rate, so they should be having better success than what they're having. I like the Cleveland Indians here. I think the line is very fair, and I'll play the Cleveland Indians tonight.
I like it, Brian. Good breakdown. Yeah, Logan Allen with what he's doing personally there, and the 23-year-old from West Palm Beach being the first lefty starter to go against the Reds. They've actually only had 77 plate appearances against lefties all season, none of them being from starters. So great stats there, Brian. Ralph, what are you thinking here, Indians and Reds?
Well, I'm on the Indians as well, and Brian brought up a few points I was going to. And, if you look at the first pitch newsletter, you're going to see that the Reds are blank in those lefty columns. The Indians, by the way, like they always do, Indians are not a good team versus lefties. They're 5-1 versus righties this year. They're 2-4 versus lefties. Hoffman, of course, a righty. Hoffman's first start, he had a 6.0 strikeout walk ratio, but in his second start, it caught up to him. 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts. You look at the Reds. They started off their home series going 5-1. They scored 57 runs in those 6 home games. They go on the road, they get shut out twice, and they score 18 runs in 6 road games. So 57 runs their first 6 games at home, 18 runs their last 6. So is that a home road dichotomy, or is that they started the season hot and they came back to where the median level was? Well, I don't think it's quite a home road dichotomy, but I think now you're batting 146 the last 5 days. You look at their hit total, 4.75-2. You're facing the lefty for the first time, as Brian said. Logan Allen gets the start on the road. I think that's going to be good for him. I do like the Indians here.
All right, liking the Indians tonight, guys. And plus, Indians have a big bullpen advantage, at least according to my numbers. Number 4 bullpen out the gate here in MLB. Next game up, 8:10 Eastern time. Looks like 47 degrees with light wind in Kansas City as we're seeing the Toronto Blue Jays with Steven Matz on the hill going against the Kansas City Royals here. Mike Minor on the hill, 2 lefties going after it. Looks like a pretty competitively priced game here. -110, open -135 towards Toronto, Ralph. We got a total of 8 here in Kansas City. First rounder from Vanderbilt, Mike Minor's looked good, but so has Steven Matz. Both of these pitchers looking good out the gate, Ralph. Are you interested in getting involved with the Blue Jays and Royals tonight?
Well, you look at Matz. He's 2-0 with a 1.466 starts against the Mets. Minor 4-0 with a 2.0 ERA against Toronto. So if you want to go on past history where a pitcher matches up against a team, both of these are riding high. The Royals, I followed Dave Koken yesterday on Wager Talk today, and he talked about how he really likes this Royals team and how he thinks they're an upcomer. And again, when Dave talks baseball, I listen. But, you look at what their manager said, and I compare the Royals staff, a very good young staff, to the Indians. Bryan will attest to this as well. As an Indians fan, and you watch a lot of games, the starting pitching for the Indian staff can be very contagious. One guy throws a good performance, the next guy comes out, no guy wants to be the guy that drops the ball, and it really does get you on a nice team run. You look at the Kansas City Royals, and they've won 3 straight, beat the Angels twice, beat the Blue Jays yesterday. You look at the Royals batting. They finally had 9 and 11 hits the last 2 games after struggling. And the Blue Jays, again, the Blue Jays bats, is that part of being in Dunedin? Did I say that right? From your part of the woods there? Dunedin, right? It's Dunedin.
Yeah, Dunedin, so, I believe. To tell you the truth, you're talking about Dave. He's corrected me multiple times in how I'm pronouncing it, so I try to stay away from pronouncing it.
I believe it is Dunedin. But you look at the Blue Jays, and you look at their past games. 12 hits, 10 hits, 5 hits, 14 hits. Now, is that part of playing in a AAA? I really think it is. Despite them having 10 hits yesterday in Kansas City in the first game after breaking the road trip, I think we're going to see the Blue Jays bats fall off a little bit. I went back and forth on this game. With 2 lefties going, Very, very few at bats for both teams lefties. I actually lean under in the first 5 innings here. I think the pitchers get through the first part of the lineups easily. Second part, they may start giving away a few hits, but under first 5 for me in the Blue Jays-Royals matchup.
Yeah, I like that look. But both pitchers with a lot of success against the opposing lineups as well. Each of them under 630 team OPS against. So I like where Ralph's going with this, Brian. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think this is a team that Kansas City we can make some money on. I like Kansas City here. Steven Matz has never started against the Kansas City Royals. If he's played against them, he's done so out of the bullpen. The concern I have with Steven Matz, and you're right, you mentioned he's gotten off to a great start this year. 2 game scores, 73 and 59. But if you've looked at starting pitchers coming from the National League to the American League, there's usually a fall off because you have to face the DH. You don't have that, number 8 and 9 batters in the National League that are very weak, a pitcher and usually a very weak hitter at number 8. So that's a concern. So I think if you're playing Toronto today, you're buying high on Matz. I like Matz. He's healthier this year. He was terrible last year. Wasn't very healthy all season long. But take a look at what Mike Minor's done. Ralph talked about the career ERA going all the way back to 2011. His game scores are 70, 60, 69, 42, and 75. An average game score is 63 when league average is 50. Mike Minor's fared very well against Toronto in his career. And this is a guy, he's a veteran they brought in there. He's an innings eater for Kansas City. I really like him. I think he's going to settle down this pitching staff. We've already seen it with some of the other guys in the past that have been very inconsistent. I think he really helps this team. And Rolf talked about it, breeding confidence in your pitching staff. And I think Kansas City's feeling that way right now. Kansas City's 2-0 against lefties so far this year. Toronto 1-1, small sample sizes. But it's a situation for me that I think Kansas City's got the better starter. I think Kansas City's the team playing at home. Obviously, they're a team that's very confident right now. Toronto's, take a look at the way Toronto's been hitting this year. They haven't hit the ball very well in my regard. Kansas City hasn't either, but Kansas City's been winning it with defense and pitching. So I have confidence in Kansas City here. I think it's a cheap number by playing Minor in the Royals here.
Hey, Drew, I have to bring up one point. Yep. I had to go to my database today. When you look at the lineup upcoming for the Blue Jays, how many times do you see in a 4-game series that a team is throwing 4 lefties? So the Blue Jays are throwing 4 straight lefties. So Bryan talked about KC versus lefties. That's going to happen the next 2 games as well. So keep track of that.
Yeah, good point there, Mike. And you start talking about, good betting philosophies here, guys, of, riding these trends. And against lefties, we're getting 4 of them in a row. That's a great point, Ralph and Brian, in terms of look at this Toronto-Kansas City series, guys, for the next, 3 games here this weekend facing all lefties. Huge shout out to the chat box, by the way, really live on a Friday. Love to see it. Abby, Jessica, welcome in. Brian Watson, Lance, all you guys. Brandon Porter, Tim, Chad, you guys bringing some heat here in the chat box, looking at different bets. Love to see it. Feel free to throw out what you're looking to bet and why, and any tidbits you want to throw out betting-wise here for MLB tonight, this weekend. We love to see it. And if you could please smash the like button if you're liking the content, that helps us out as well. We got 2 games left, guys, both 10 o'clock Eastern starts here on the West Coast. So if you like late night action, we got it for you now on MLB Network. 10:10 Eastern start here, Brian. We're seeing the LA Dodgers, San Diego Padres for the first time this season. Likely number 1 and number 2 in the NL West, duking it out here. The Dodgers, defending World Series champions, with Buehler on the hill. What we're seeing, -170, maybe as low as -160 here, with the Dodgers heavy favorite, number 1 and number 2 in the NL West. And we got Weathers going for the Padres here, Brian. He's got a lot of upside, just not a lot of innings this season. They're not letting him go too much. We'll see if he has success against the Dodgers lineup, how far they will let him go. 7.5 total in Petco tonight. 10-10 start here, Brian. You interested in getting involved?
Yeah, I think there's some value here. You mentioned 1 and 2 in that division. I have these teams rated 1 and 2 in baseball. 2 best teams in Major League Baseball. Wow. I do have a concern with Tatis coming back today. He was expected to miss the rest of the season, at least the major part of the season. He's coming back here. He's had a labrum tear. I had a labrum tear. Very painful. He popped his shoulder out. I know San Diego wants to get him in here against the Dodgers, but I'm not so sure that's a good idea. He could be out for the entire season if he does hurt himself again. I would rather, if I was San Diego, I would take my time. But hey, they know more than I do. So hopefully Tatis is back and he's healthy. He's just a tremendous player and one of the really exciting young guys in baseball. So hopefully he's okay. You mentioned Ryan Weathers. He's pitched one game, pitched really well, 1.50 ERA this year, or 6 innings of action for him. It's interesting with the Padres. The Padres have the deepest pitching staff in the minors in baseball. And then they go out and sign just major pitchers in the off season. Clevenger comes from Cleveland. Yu Darvish comes over from Chicago. And so all these guys are in the minors. And one of the guys they're starting is Ryan Weathers. No Gore. They've got 3 or 4 guys that are rated higher than Weathers, but they are smart enough to keep their innings down and keep them in the minors and bring them up later on in the season if they need them. Walker Buehler has been terrific. His last 5 starts against San Diego on average 72 game score. Average, once again, for the league is 50. He's been tremendous. He's got a 1.36 ERA in those games, his 5 starts against San Diego. I like this game to go under. Tatis, I don't think is ready to play. San Diego's bullpen is terrific. Dodgers bullpen is terrific. Even if Weathers doesn't go long, I think we'll see the top relievers from San Diego here. This series for the entire season between the Dodgers and the Padres is going to be really interesting. It's going to take high priority when you look at those other teams in that division. So every team will go out, whatever they've got to do to get these victories. And I consider that to be a low-scoring game. You're treating it a little more like a playoff game. I like the under here.
Okay, looking towards the under. Petco Park, of course, at night, usually, a pitcher's park here. And to add on to what Bryan was saying, guys, both the Dodgers and the Padres didn't throw any of their top 3 arms, at least from my numbers, in last night's games, yesterday's games. So rested bullpens on top of talented bullpens. We got Ralph up next, Dodgers Pods tonight. Number 1 and number 2 in the NL West here, Ralph. Heck, maybe number 1 and number 2 in all of baseball, like Bryan said. What are you thinking tonight, Ralph?
Oh, to me, there's incredible value on the Dodgers. You have a team that's 11-1. You have a team that says, well, we don't really consider the Padres a rival yet. You have the Padres who know they have to get a good start playing with pressure. You're getting Buehler and the Dodgers on an 11-1 run, one of the best hitting teams in baseball at minus $170. To me, that is great value. You have a great bullpen. You have great bats. You have Turner batting .435 with 4 home runs. You have Muncy with 3 home runs. You have Weathers making his first ever start in this position, game 1 against the Dodgers. Only the 2nd player in the history of baseball to make his first appearance in a division game. So he did face the Dodgers last year in the playoffs. He pitched 1.1 inning, had 2 walks and a strikeout, didn't give up any runs. So that certainly has to, if they felt comfortable pitching him in an NL division series, they feel comfortable pitching him game 1 here. But I just think going through this lineup multiple times and not just facing 4 batters is an entire different scenario. Weathers, just if you guys want to think how old we're getting, Weathers was born in 1999. And yeah, he is the son of David Weathers, who pitched, I think, 14 years in baseball, started with Toronto and Milwaukee, finished with the Reds like 2008. So when you are the son of an athlete, you are conditioned differently. You have different training when you're young. You're around the clubhouse, so maybe the butterflies don't get to him as much as some other teams. But to me, there's only one way to play it. I mean, you're going to look at the end of the year and you're going to say, I could get Buehler under $200, minus 2-1 or less. Why didn't I bet him? I think that's the situation tonight.
All right, Ralph. Yeah, good stuff. And we got Dow in the chat box saying can't step in front of the Dodgers train right now. They've won 6 straight. Ride the trend. Trend is your friend in sports betting, guys. So maybe looking towards the Dodgers and laying the wood here in the first degenerate special game. We got next game up, last game on the card here. MLB Network, Aaron, Ralph. 10:10 Eastern start. Houston and Seattle head into the American League West. We got Houston minus 125. We're seeing maybe as low as minus 115. They open minus 125. We got COVID issues on the Houston Astros lineup here. I think 5 players out, including Altuve and Bregman. Ralph, interested in your opinion on that because I believe they called up 5 new guys from the minors here, and going up against Kikuchi, which the Astros, outside of those 2 players, have really smashed Kikuchi, the Japanese pitcher here, in the past. And Seattle, kind of surprising in their own right. They've hit righties very well. Houston's hits lefties very well. Both bullpens have done good. So this is a good matchup as well. Late night here, Ralph. You interested in getting involved?
Well, you look at the last start Kikuchi had against him was horrible. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 5 runs. But the 2 previous starts, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, pitched up 5 innings, and gave up 1 run. So he's had, he's had a couple decent games. The funny thing is, the game that he pitched 3 innings and gave up 5 runs, the Mariners actually won the game. The 2 games that he pitched very well, the Mariners actually lost to the Astros. Yeah, I mean, I can't back the Astros without Bergman, Altuve, Alvarez, catcher Maldonado, and then their utility infielder, Robel Garcia, all COVID issues. So bringing up 5 new players, a different dynamic, a different lineup. You're batting before different people. You're batting after different people. You look at what the Astros have done against lefties. They have started 7 games against lefties and only 5 games against righties. So they are 4-3, actually down some money as a 130 favorite. With that injury situation just occurring, I can't back the Astros. Not sure if I want to get there to the Mariners, but if you made me pick a side, I would back the Mariners in this first game. I think Houston's going to be fine. They're going to make their adjustments in the lineups and moving forward. But the first game after this shift, no way do the Astros see my money.
Yeah, Ruff, it's an interesting handicap here, Bryan, because we get the COVID issues on Houston, and we really don't know how it's going to affect MLB teams. Like in college basketball, it was a huge moneymaker to kind of fade these COVID pauses. I mean, in MLB baseball, we're going to see. I don't think it's a help by any means, Bryan, but I did have Houston as kind of circled as bet on. You're agree the pitcher, the 25-year-old Mexican, he's been lights out this season. The starting pitcher for Houston in Kikuchi, like Ralph just touched on, at least one start he got smashed here by the Astros lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised if Houston comes out, and wins this game. But at the same time, throwing the COVID, it almost makes me back off here because spot-wise for Seattle, it's not very good. They were just on a week-long East Coast road trip, first game back. That's usually a fade opportunity as well. So it's kind of, a murky water here. A lot of different kind of trends going on and angles in this one. But interested in your opinion to finish it off, man.
Yeah, not only is it the first game back home, they just played a doubleheader yesterday. Now, granted, it's only 7-inning doubleheaders now compared to 9 innings as we used to have. But it's a tough back for either one of these teams. What I think is probably the better look is the under. Kikuchi, as Ralph mentioned, he hasn't pitched well. He's got a 41 game score his last 5 against Houston, but that's a different Kikuchi. He changed some things coming into spring training this year, and ever since then, he's just been on fire. His 2 starts this year at Minnesota and hosting San Francisco, 58 and 57 game scores. Very good situations there. Houston just got done finishing against this Detroit pitching staff. They score 4, 2, and 2. And before that, against Oakland, they score 3 and 2. So Houston's not hitting the ball. And as you mentioned, with the COVID, they're missing some of their best players here. I'm looking for this game to go under. I think Kikuchi going against this Houston lineup, they haven't seen him, obviously, since he's changed some things in his repertoire. And Urquidy has never faced Seattle. Seattle's never faced him. So I think that gives an advantage first time around to the pitcher. I like the under here. The Bats, obviously playing the doubleheader yesterday and traveling. Houston did have the day off yesterday, but they have to travel, and they've got a lot of their major players missing here. I like the under here. I think that's the best way to take a look at this, and I don't think either one of these teams gets over 4 runs.
Yeah, Ryan, I could see the under happening as well. I mean, with that long road trip, doubleheader, good point on top of all that, Brian. Guys, Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com, #1 in MLB over the last 4 seasons. You want to check him out. NHL, MLB, really seeing it well. 5% NHL record, 9-2-1. Doesn't have many of them, but when he does, very, very profitable. $9 Monday. We got $2 Tuesday. We also have the $199 deal, guys, at Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com for the next 30 days. Brian, a great choice. Ralph Michaels, a great choice at WagerTalk.com as well, giving out a lot of free content. Always want to be catching his page each and every day. Guys, we got best bets coming up, but first, we're going to throw it over to Tokyo Brandon with a Asian League, Japanese quick pick for tonight, overnight. So check that out real quick.
Tokyo Brandon here with Friday night's Japanese baseball quick pick. The SoftBank Hawks are traveling to Seibu Lions. We've got Takahashi Rei going for SoftBank, and we've got Hamaya starting for the Lions. Hamaya has a 5.78 ERA and a 1.75 whip against SoftBank in his career, and he only has 2 quality starts out of 8 at home. I like SoftBank here a lot. They're hitting hot, and Takahashi is a really good starting pitcher. He walks a few too many, but I think he can take care of business here. The great bullpen, the great lineup should take care of it. Bet SoftBank on the money line. That's the quick pick today. Thanks, guys.
SoftBank on the money line. We're not talking about SoftBank stock, guys. It's Asian League Baseball, Japanese League. SoftBank money line tonight. We got Ralph Michaels, Bryan Leonard's best bets coming up, as long as myself. Brian, let's start off with you guys. Again, number 1 in Wager Talk. Last 4 seasons, seeing it well on the diamond. Brian, where are you going for best bets for the show Friday night?
I'm going to take a look at the Pittsburgh-Milwaukee game we didn't talk about. And I'm going to play Pittsburgh in the first 5 here. JT Brubaker is a guy I've been looking to bet on coming into the season. I was really excited about him, and he's done nothing to quell that excitement. He goes to Cincinnati, and we know how well Cincinnati was hitting at home. He has a 54-game score. He plays the Cubs, a team struggling offensively right now at home, and they get a 59-game score. He's a guy right now that not a lot of people know about. Not a lot of people pay attention to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that gives us an advantage here. Adrian Hauser's going for the Brewers. He's got a 42 average game score his last 7 starts against Pittsburgh, 3 career starts of 46, so both below average. And when you take a look at hitting this year, when I take a look at hard hit rate, and usually the harder you hit the ball, the better you're going to be. Milwaukee right now ranks 27th in hard hit rate, 28% on the season. You look at WRC plus, another thing that I look at with an average of 100, Milwaukee is 28th with a 77. So not only are they not hitting the ball hard, they're not having any success hitting the ball at all. It's a situation for me where Pittsburgh's a team that bad teams could win in baseball. It's different than it is in football and basketball, where your top teams will win 60% of the games. The bottom teams will only win 40%. This is a game right here, Pittsburgh, from the starting pitcher standpoint. I love Pittsburgh here. I'm playing in the first 5, and I think that's one of the better bets on the board today.
Nice. Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com, killing it there. Pittsburgh Pirates first 5 innings. Guys, we'll recap it at the end as well. We got Ralph Michaels on Twitter at CalSportsLV. Guys, check out his page each and every day. Wager Talk giving out free first pitch. A lot of interesting trends in MLB. It's something you want to check out each and every day. Ralph, throw it over to you for best bet for the show, buddy.
Yeah, we also do the daily NBA stat sheet, Drew. So both of those available at the same page. And for those of you, I don't know of any other source anywhere where you can get first inning logs and first 5 inning logs for the team's last 15 games and the pitcher's last 10 games. So those are on the First Pitch newsletter each and every day. Again, wagertalk.buzz/RM. I'm going to rehash. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Indians. I think we have Allen. Hoffman making his first start against the Indians. Indians have won 6 of 8 against the Reds. I still feel they're the better team in this in-state rival. I feel that the Reds hitting isn't going to turn into what it was those first 6 games. The only negative that I want to bring up with the Indians, and they're not really a dog today. I mean, they are a very small dog. The Indians, going back to last year, are only 4-20 as an underdog. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They struggle against good teams. So they are 0-2 as a dog this year, 4-20 the last 24 going back to last year. Small dog, I do like him in this spot.
All right, Ralph Michaels there. Check him out, WagerTalk.com. Guys, last best bet for the show here. I'm actually going to go to a game I'm going to be attending tonight. If you're in South Florida, hit me up on Twitter at DrewMartinBets. San Francisco Giants and Miami Marlins. I'm going under 8.5. Light juice here, guys. Minus 115 to the under. I think with good reason here. We got Anthony DeSclafani coming back to South Florida to face his former team. He's been money out the gate. I think he has a good outing tonight against this Fish lineup. And Castano, not a guy that's had a lot of MLB experience, but when he has, he changes speeds very well. He's not going to blow you away, but he's shown good numbers last season. This will be his first start for this year. Plus the fact both bullpens top 10 by my numbers, and both lineups against the handedness of the pitcher they're going to be facing bottom 10. So I love that combination in terms of staying under the total. 8.5 in the National League. Pitchers batting. I like the Miami Marlins, San Francisco Giants under 8.5. So for Bryan Leonard, Ralph Michaels, I'm Drew Martin. Guys, we got the recap here. Best bets under 8.5 Giants, Marlins. Bryan Leonard on the Pirates, first 5 plus 115. Ralph Michaels, Indians plus 106. And the Asian baseball, we got SoftBank, the Hawks, minus 160. So for Ralph Michaels, Bryan Leonard, I am Drew Martin. Please smash the like button on your way out. Again, huge shout out to the chat box. Really live today on a Friday. Over 300 people watching right now, just on YouTube alone. We really appreciate it, guys. Please smash the like button on your way out. If you're watching on replay, that's cool too. Feel free to leave a comment below what you're looking to bet and why. Bryan, Ralph, I'm Drew Martin. Guys, have a great weekend. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll see you on Monday, same time, same place. Best of luck, guys.